Western Kabuki. Is it the new Bud Light? The popular leftist shitposting podcast has gone woke. And here to comment is our very own Dylan Mulvaney. That's right. We hired somebody for representation. We've got a man who is 5'9". Caleb, how are you? He doesn't want to. You don't want to.
Yeah, no. I'm doing great, man. Love that joke.
Juniper, how are you?
I'm great.
CEO who has to answer for the crimes of this company.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna do like when you said man, I was like, oh, is he gonna like misgender me for the bit? Is this gonna be the bit? Is this the trust?
It's a perfectly average height.
It's an okay height, but we're not gonna cancel him today. He's safe for today. 5'9" kings can be made fun of still. That's not woke to make fun of them. Sad to say. Maybe one day it will.
We are honored and privileged in this episode in which we are going to talk about the various Chuds of the internet to be joined by Chudsly himself, Mr. Chuds of TikTok. Chuds, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So we have all, and I don't think we mentioned this to you, Chuds, actually. We have all collected some guys to discuss. How do you feel about guys? Do you ever find guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys.
I couldn't agree more.
a lot of really annoying guys, a lot of weird guys, a lot of bad dudes. There's just a lot of them.
I've been falling down conspiracy TikTok lately, so it's fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any up and comers? Anybody we should know about?
There's definitely guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok for me is like a social media I don't really understand. Like, really, the only one at this point I use is Twitter or like Blue Sky, of course. But like, I don't really know how any of these other ones work. And I tried to do a little research. I tried my best to find like a TikTok weird right wing guy, but I don't know how to navigate it. I don't quite know.
The problem is you have to search like MAGA 2024 and then just start watching videos. And the problem is you have to watch the entire fucking video to start getting it in your algorithm.
So that's how the algorithm works. It's like it'll see if you like. It probably assumes that if you watched it all, you liked it or something.
Bullshit like that. Yeah. So if you ever just want to kill yourself, definitely just watch 1,000 hours of people praising Trump.
Just leave it on your phone. Yeah.
The issue is that, like, in order to do that, once you tell it that you're a man, it's like, did you want to see like titties and ass and stuff? Or are you into titties and ass? Because that's what we've got for you as a new TikTok user, is a bunch of just asses. It's a very intimidating app to me because it is noisy and it does require some effort in order to get good content out of it.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of time when I used it where I basically only used it for like Pokemon card content. There's like a lot of like those like opening, like, you know, like they would open boxes or whatever. And that's like all I used it for like a couple of weeks. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm over at TikTok.
You can find the strangest, most specific content on there sometimes for probably like 10 people that are ever going to search it.
Yeah, it's like Reddit, but like if it's unorganized and you can't like search for specific things, like, because Reddit has like really hyper specific communities, but I guess, I mean, so does TikTok. It's just not as user. I mean, I know TikTok or Reddit's kind of going under recently with a lot of the changes, but it's a lot less, like, TikTok is like a lot less user friendly in my opinion.
Yeah, there's nowhere to post anymore. This is a dire time for posting.
Posting is dying. The art of posting is dying.
and as ever, the people who killed it have names and addresses. Which I do think we could mobilize people for the death of posting a lot more than we could for climate change.
Posting is far more important than climate change, or basically any issue.
So we are discussing guys now. I did find a few guys. I picked two guys because the first guy I picked was too boring and not very funny. And then I found another guy, and wouldn't you know it, he's also pretty boring and not very funny. I'm gonna start with the more insane one, and then we can do a sort of round table on other guys. But my guy is a guy named Owen Benjamin. What do you guys know about Owen?
So all I know about Owen is just, what was it, yesterday? He's the guy that made that like nukes are fake post. And that's the first time
Yep.
I've ever seen him. And that's the only thing I've ever seen from him. And I gotta say, that's like a really strong start, that he genuinely believes that like nuclear weapons and nuclear fallout are just like a fabrication of like,
Correct.
I don't even understand what the angle is, like, of the government to hide something. I don't know.
I also know a really random fact. He was apparently used to date Christina Ricci. If you watched The Addams Family.
Wait,
He did?
Yeah.
he just wait, like a famous actress?
Yeah, he's a famous comedian, apparently.
He is? What the fuck?
So he was pretty well regarded, and this is the order of events as I know him. And I've mentioned this on a premium episode, but a friend of mine who was doing I was doing stand up with in Austin said he got hired to open for Owen Benjamin. That was my introduction to Owen Benjamin. Then I Google him and I realized, oh, I saw his Comedy Central half hour. He plays a piano and he does piano comedy. And he was not as good as Bo Burnham even then, but he was like a kind of a road comic kind of guy, and my boy was opening up for him. And then my boy started doing some really racist shit, which was weird because he was black, but he starts doing like super conservative, like apologia, like saying that Colin Kaepernick, he called Colin Kaepernick a coon and stuff, and he after he started hanging out with Owen Benjamin, and then he was then my boy was in a video with Steven Crowder and Owen Benjamin.
What kind of friend is this? Like, I mean, maybe I'm different, but like, I don't have friends that are like right wingers. Like, I never really have. So
it's doing comedy, and you just sort of know people. This guy was like a friend of mine, and he was black. I didn't really think he would turn out to be like a crazy fascist guy. And then Owen Benjamin started saying that like gravity was fake. And then like a year later, he started beefing with comics on Twitter, and a lot of them wouldn't really talk to him. A lot of them would not respond. And then he saw that without ever having interacted with him, Anthony Jeselnik had blocked Owen Benjamin. And this led to Owen Benjamin calling him gay, saying that his jacket was too expensive to be cool, and that he had liposuction in his ass or something like that.
What the?
And
These people are fucking weird.
and what Anthony Jeselnik responded by saying, "I'm not going to spend too much time on a second-rate piano comic." And then Owen Benjamin was like, I think he's controlled by the Jews and shit. Just really went like all the way there immediately. And now, yeah, he rejects things like gravity, the germ theory of medicine, nuclear physics. And he runs a farm in northern Iowa. And on his family farm, he has like fucking like 7 kids or something like that. And he he does daily live streams on Vimeo. Okay, how many kids do he have? 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 kids. He's got 4 kids. But they're all ages like 1 to 5. They're like pretty little.
So what you're saying, he does like the family vlog style like video on Vimeo?
So
He's like a family vlogger, like a right-wing family vlogger?
he has the kids come on the show, but he doesn't have them participate. So I'm sharing my screen here just to hear a little bit of this live stream, because there's a couple things he says in this live stream that I just want to shout out. 2 of his kids do run into frame at various times, but one of them he's like, in the middle of like, I'm not doubting that 100,000 people died at Hiroshima. I'm just saying, and then his like son runs up and he's like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" So here's a quick little clip of that live stream.
That one's probably my favorite.
And he's like, they're gonna put
Did I share the sound?
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear it.
Okay, cool.
y'all back in chains. Like he's super racist, and I think it's great.
What was it?
He's talking about Joe Biden there. We'll hear that one again real
Jeez.
quick.
Anymore? They're trying to dismantle.
It's hard
the
to jump
country.
around.
But who's
on
they
these.
though? And
Like,
how are they
let's-
going to dismantle the
The
country?
people who are working within the higher ends of the government and whoever is their boss. Let's be honest, like the president's not really in charge.
Oh no, I'm starting to really like Biden's intense racism though.
I was just thinking that the other night. You know, Andrew Jackson was like a hardcore Democrat.
Dude, I'm starting to flip. Dude, Biden literally said, dude, his son called a J a hard N. And Biden was like, he's like, don't get me wrong, he's probably a pedophile and he has dementia, obviously. But they all do. Yeah. So he goes, rich kids or no, he goes, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. And I was like, yes. I don't know, I think it's hilarious.
He is pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's like, my buddy Corn Pop.
That one's probably my
And
favorite.
he's like, they're going to put y'all back in chains. Like, he's super racist. And I think it's great.
So that's like a little bit of Owen there.
I love that he's discovering these 4-year-old clips yesterday. Like this is 4th of July. He did this live stream.
He did this yesterday. This is from fewer than 24, about 25 hours ago that he made this. Yeah, Biden is super racist. And
Can I ask a
love
question?
it. Please.
Oh boy. He said he called a J a hard N, and I have no fucking clue what slurs were said there.
There's a couple things. There's a couple things he says that I just don't super know what he's talking about. And part of the reason for that is that he also kind of speaks in his own language.
He's invented slurs we've never even heard of.
Basically, actually, yes. He was just handed a piece of fur from a child off camera or whatever. Oh, there's the kid. There's one of his kids.
He's got his kids in these videos, dog.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
It's a
Wanna
little
watch
ass
Daddy
kid.
do
It's
new
a little-
racism?
It's a little ass kid on there. So the bear. Somebody, when he came after Anthony Jeselnik, somebody called him unbearable. So he calls all of his fans the unbearables now. And there's something else about gravy. He uses the phrase gravy a few times, and I'm not really sure what that's all about, but he's like, are we gravy? I'm feeling pretty gravy. Hey, speaking of gravy, how about all those black people stealing stuff or whatever? And it's like, I don't know what he means in that context. I really don't know what he means by gravy
That
there.
takes quite the turn there.
What?
Yeah.
What's the story? I know the viewers, the listeners can't see this, but what's going on with that hat? I gotta know. What's this about?
I wanted to
you
bring up
better
both of their
believe-
hats.
You better believe that the explanation is racist.
Okay, okay, let's go.
So he says his buddy there is named Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go,
And
Brandon.
he says to his buddy there, I am one of the infidels in the mountains of Afghanistan, and you are part of Delta Force. And then the guy responds, whoa. I'm not part of Delta Force. I'm not fucking with those guys, okay? I'm not part of Delta Force. And then Owen Benjamin says, and I quote, I was just thinking of a Greek letter. We'll say you're in Lambda Force. Which is not a real thing, but Delta Force is. He was just like so scared of stealing valor.
I was trying to figure out what was it
That's what
racist?
it
But
is.
he's just scared.
He doesn't want to steal valor from Delta Force.
Got it.
Yeah,
Also,
I'm not gonna
I had a thought while you're saying his name is Brandon, and I wonder how much that I was weighed into the fact that he's this guy's sidekick, and I was just thinking what a time to be like a community college dropout guy that does keg stands now. If your name is Brandon at parties, because everyone at that party is just doing the "Let's go Brandon" chant while you're upside down drinking as much beer as you
they
can.
are. They are fully diluting. They are fully diluting the "Let's Go Brandon" thing all across college campuses in this great nation.
Yo, like this is the era of Brandons, and I love that.
And I'm guessing if you don't got a Brandon, a Braden will do in a pinch. Let's go, Braden.
Is it just me? But like Brandon is like a fake word now. Like it's like a fake name. Like it doesn't hit anymore. Like let's go Brandon. If it's for me, it's one of those things where if you say a word so many times, it just loses all meaning.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a word anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
With Brandon is just like it's ruined. It's ruined forever.
Well, I'm pretty sure they
gonna
use it
play-
as like a verb now too. You Brandon something. I've seen that starting.
They do. I've seen it.
It's
I've
crazy.
seen it.
It's over.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this next part. I'm not gonna play. I have like a few clips. The guy, like I said, he is painfully boring, and there's some fun stories I kind of got to find out. I watched him on an interview with the Daily Wire, and it's really funny because it's a 15-minute interview, and over that 15 minutes, the interviewer is asking him questions, and he is continuing with a bit that he does on stage. So he will be like, what was the bit that he was? Oh, okay. Well, this is a great example. He is like, yeah, I don't have any problem with gay people. I'm definitely not homophobic. I do a bit on stage where I'm like, we started out with the L's and they were cool because they had Birkenstocks and Subarus, and then they got the LG. Yeah, they got the G's, and the G's were okay. They had more raves, less knitting. But then the B's joined, and that's where things started to get a little dicey. And this is like the bit he does in between the guy being like, so how do you find like your crowds change after being removed from Twitter? And he's like, they've been great. And then we have the T's. And then he's like doing this joke, which if you're sitting at home and you're thinking to yourself, hey, that's a Dave Chappelle joke from 2016, you are correct.
He just straight up stole a Dave Chappelle joke.
Straight up. If you just Google Owen Benjamin, I think the very first thing is like oh, now it's all my Owen Benjamin wife. But yeah, it was like Owen Benjamin stolen joke Dave Chappelle, which is hilarious because in that same interview, he's like, yeah, I used to have a bit. Don't really do it anymore, but I always thought it was pretty funny. You see these Antifa guys in the street wearing all black with the masks, and the interviewer is like, exactly right. If you need to wear a mask to protest, you're not actually protesting. And Owen was like, yeah, you just wonder, like they're in all black with their black clubs, wearing black clothes, and you're like, I used to do this bit where it's like, did the Nazis ever stop and look around and be like, Franz, are these the bad guys? And then the interviewer is like, that was you. That was your joke. And he's like, yeah, I was doing it. I had to stop. Apparently some British guy did it in the 80s, and I don't want people to think I stole it. And it's like, it's not from the 80s. It's from like 2002. You were a full-grown adult. And also, he basically only performs in Manchester, England now. He lives in northern Idaho. He performs in like rural Oregon, rural Washington, Montana, and Idaho. Or he goes to Manchester, England, because Manchester is famous for very easy crowds because they're mostly working class people who don't really watch a lot of television. So they have a great reputation for comedians because of how stupid they are in Manchester. Shout out to all our listeners in Manchester.
Classic British moment. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's really great because he's like, I've never heard of that Mitchell and Webb look, the like most famous sketch comic thing. And he goes on to say that comedians in Britain are too woke, and that's why he does so well there. All right, let's hear from this live stream again.
How everything can be turned around to be used against you. They can be like, well, don't you believe in free speech? Of course you have to let this guy talk about pedophilia.
Right, exactly.
And it's like,
I don't believe in free speech.
No, you can't.
I believe that the government should have First
What is
Amendment,
this
but I
dude?
like private censorship.
This
really
is
do.
okay. This is
That actually
not what I
makes more
thought this guy
sense.
would
That's
be.
what-
Like, I don't even know what this ideology
He's
is.
an idiot. He is a
This is just like
fucking
nuts.
moron. Yeah. I'm going to skip to the very end because this thing that he uploaded, even though he has Twitter Blue, cuts off in the middle of him speaking at the end.
Amazing website.
Yeah. He only uploaded a 44-minute video, even though he can upload like a 3-hour video, can't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Now
day
it's
it'll
not
be
playing.
like 12 hours.
Twitter's working so well. Video's not playing.
What I want to say is one thing I didn't expect from this guy is that he would be a comedian. Like my introduction to him was that denying nuclear blasts, like nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to be like a really, he is a weirdo, but like I didn't think he would like be doing things with his life. Like I didn't think he would be like a farmer or like a comedian. I thought he was like a Twitter weirdo.
Yeah.
I would call him mostly a farmer after having seen his comedy. He's mainly a farmer. All right, this is like the very end of this video he posted to Twitter.
No, I was right. I'm gonna double it, this kid. All right, working on Facebook data centers contract.
He's reading messages from his platinum subscribers or whatever. This is somebody who says they're working at Facebook.
They wanted us hire as full time, but pay dick just for the honor of working at Facebook. I got a theory about that's why they're boosting up the black so much, is because they can really do that. Like, let's say you're black and you're from like the ghetto. They're like, Mama, I got a job at Netflix, and everybody's like, oh, honey, you have so much status on. They pay them like $30,000 a year, versus like a lot of white, quote unquote, white people, they'd require like 60 or 70 grand a year. But they can undercut it because the status of like having.
That's where it ends.
Yeah, okay. Quote unquote white people. I don't know what he's cooking.
Means.
Yeah.
I don't know what he means by quote unquote white people. I have no earthly idea what he's saying with quote unquote white people.
He's talking about Italians.
White people who aren't actually white. I watched his entire special today. Owen Benjamin's.
Yeah,
Owen Benjamin.
Holy
I watched it
shit.
at 2 times speed.
And his special is bear themed as well. Look at that. He's
Yes,
committing
it's
to
called
that.
Feed the Bear. And I think his thing is in Russian for some reason. He had some wild takes about the Russia-Ukraine war. Oh, look, a guy who's dressed as a Nazi on here. I'm looking at there's only 4. When was this recorded? All right. Okay, so this is his song. And this is really fucking sad. This is really brutal.
Imagine there's no heaven.
This is a guy responding to that annoying John Lennon song, as he calls it.
Then where's my grandma? It's easy if you try. Why would I do that to her? No hell below us. Then why don't I steal everything? Above us, only sky. But what about La Luna?
Okay, so
Oh my
Ben
God.
Shapiro did this
What?
exact same thing. Ben Shapiro did this exact same thing beforehand. But also, let's skip ahead 3 minutes.
You don't
I
need
love
to
that
play
he's
it, but
just-
he didn't
still-
do the whole song.
He does the second verse. he plays the chorus.
Nothing to kill or die for. I'm starting to think of a reason. And then, fortunately, someone took him out. Oh, I'm sorry. We feel really bad about that. It was not a good thing. We feel bad about shooting that little red commie.
Jesus.
This is his special. Like this is
That's
his
his S tier material. Like he's
this is
cream
what
of crop.
he has to work with. And lastly, he goes into this. I skipped a full hour of this hour and 15-minute special. You don't really need. I could jump to any part, and I can guarantee you there's no laughs to be had. But what he does at the end is he does this thing throughout the special where he talks about how like he had other dreams. Like he's not really living his dream. His original dream was to be like a piano playing rock star who has like beloved ballads that people sing along with. So he made his own ballad and he's like, I want you guys to act like you're an arena audience. And I am about to play everybody's favorite song of mine. And
Oh no.
he's like, And then he starts like doing like a voice, and he's like, I wanted everybody to know we're gonna turn back the clock a little here tonight. I said I would never do this one again. And he's like, at this point, you guys should be cheering because you know what it is. And then he restarts the bit, and he's like, I wanted to turn back the clock here a little bit. Then he does the song. It does not go over well, and he sings the same song with different lyrics.
If it isn't good enough, I will cancel my second show and I will fucking fight every one of you as I'm jerking off.
That's a bit that he was doing about jerking off. The jerk off bit.
This next song,
the classic jerk off bit.
I promised someone very special I would never play it again.
Is he like wasted right now?
But if we can go back in time,
I
just
believe
once,
he is.
I was
Yeah, he has a
wondering-
beer right by
You may
him.
remember this one from back
I was
in the
hoping
day.
he's not drunk enough to
I
be
bet I
honest.
do.
Lo-
It's called
Love to see how he was for the second show.
Feed the Bear.
So it's the same chords, it's the same melody as the song he played the first time.
There's my fireflies right there, baby, yeah.
They all have their phone
Here we
lights
go.
on.
Oh my god.
Feed the bear. Feed that bear. Deep inside you. Feed the bear. Everybody sing with me. Feed the bear.
So this is what he does, except for I'm going to skip ahead 2 minutes because he's still doing it, because during the reprise of the chorus, he keeps on saying, feed the bear, he's hungry. And then the third time he does it, he's like, fuck, I keep trying to say he's hungry to end the song. Okay, one more time, guys, one more time. Feed the bear. Come on, feed the bear, he's honey. Fuck, one more time. It is literally what he does.
Isn't it?
Where do you feed that bear? Feed that bear.
That's when he actually gets it. But yeah, it's really brutal. It is.
This guy rocks.
I'm going to become a race trader.
Really, really painful. Yeah, I have that Daily Wire. I have that Daily Wire interview from him. I think I just have the part where he steals the joke from
All right.
David Webb.
They oddly go along with expanding government.
Right.
Where it's like they're trying, their children trying to give power to their father. Antifa wasn't, it's like, no, in person I saw that once.
Yeah.
And it wasn't at one of my events, but it was crazy. And to see these Don Lemon characters right out of the Hunger Games, you know, just this, hello. And to see them not address that and just keep talking about, Charlottesville is horrifying, but a schizophrenic hit a lady with a car. You know, that's awful, obviously, but so is corn syrup, you know? And it's like, and to see Antifa, to see like Tina Fey and these people be like, yeah, they fight fascists, like your grandparents fought the fascists, and you're like, what?
That's like, my grandparents weren't wearing black masks.
No, you know you're the bad guy when you have to wear a mask.
And when you have to wear a mask, that's always a giveaway.
It's the same with
I
the
know.
SS. I used to do a bit about that where it's like Franz. It's like, hey Franz, why are we wearing skulls on our lapels? You think we may be the bad guys?
Was that you? Was that your bit?
I stopped doing the bit because I realized a British guy had done it in the 80s. But it was obscure. It was totally obscure. But I'm such...
Totally obscure.
He like tries
This joke
to
that no one has ever done before.
He's so obviously lying. That's like the number one liar move of just like, I had no way of knowing. I was stealing that joke because it's totally obscure. Anyway, so Owen Benjamin, he is like back on Twitter now, even though in that same interview he said he would never return to Twitter, no matter what.
Well, Twitter was liberated. Don't you understand? It's back.
Holy fuck, he is live
Twitter's
right
back.
now on Twitter. He is live right now on Twitter.
I wish
I
we
bet
could
it
go in
sucks.
there.
I bet it sucks. I'm not even gonna jump in, but yeah, he is
Well,
live with
I-
114 people.
I'm happy with. I'm happy for right wingers that they have their own like Bo Burnham. Like I think that's really cool. I think that
that's
was
true.
a lane that needed to be filled, and I'm glad that this guy is the one. This like nuclear bomb denying weirdo. Like I don't know. It's perfect. Who else could it have been?
I did see him more than once use gay as an insult like a middle schooler in 2003. Just be like, you're gay. No, you're gay. Like that is
What a weird guy. He's not anything like I expected him to be, I'll be honest.
No, he sucks. The other guy I was going to talk about is JP Sears. We'll see if we have time. He's really bad. Maybe we'll see. June, who's your guy? Who did you do a little bit of research on?
So the main dude that I did research on is, for me, he's been like a low key fave of mine for a little while now. His name is, let me make sure I'm getting this right. It's Joey Manarino. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
It's Macaroni.
Yeah,
Is that
he's an Italian.
Long Island dude or Staten Island dude or whatever?
Yeah, I think he lives in New York, or like at one point did. So I started first seeing him like online again. Of course, I feel like most of these people that we know today in like the discourse and in like right wing media, for the most part, are like people that have emerged from Elon Musk buying Twitter. Like, I feel like we would have never known who Owen Benjamin or Joey Manarino or like any of these characters are without it being like the era of Elon Musk Twitter.
Right.
So this dude, I can't remember the first time I saw him, but he has just been making some of the most like insane posts. And he's been one of the people that I've been watching from afar. I don't like often quote tweet him. I don't often interact with him. But just to show off like the posting prowess that he has and the type of stuff that he does, I'm not going to share my screen, but I have like a suite of tweets that I have from him before I introduce, or I'm going to read this one and then I'll kind of like introduce his backstory because it kind of surprised me. So this one I feel like is his magnum opus. It reads as, I now have daily migraines. I was forced to get the vaccine as I was living abroad at the time. It's also ruined my bowels, but we don't get into that. The vaccine injured deserve reparations.
That's big. That's big Trump energy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know,
like,
it.
Yeah. I was forced to do this. We don't talk about this, but my shits are really big. That's all.
Yeah,
my shit.
Yeah, he talks about how his shits are horrible. It's like for me when I first saw that, I was like, oh, my brother, we're my Italian brother. We have ulcerative colitis. I have ulcerative colitis. I know the symptoms. He probably does as well. Like I tried to warn him. It was one of the rare times I replied to him. I was like, dude, you got ulcerative colitis. Go to the doctor. Sadly, he didn't listen to me. He didn't respond. But so he's like a very Trumpian-esque type character. He just like will say insane shit. And I feel like sometimes it's definitely a bit like he's definitely like leaning into some of the weird things, kind of like a Nick Adams type. So I never really looked into his backstory. So this dude, before I found him on Twitter for like years, he was working with, do you guys know who Bill Mitchell is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Big fat guy with a tiny head.
Definitely not how I would have.
He's got a crazy voice though. His voice rocks.
Yeah. That's an incredible description of him. But you're right. It's that dude. I think so Bill Mitchell, for people who are not familiar, he's not really relevant anymore because he's kind of like at this point he's a never Trumper type of dude. So he's kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of like Republican types. Currently he's on the Ron DeSantis train. And I mean, Ron DeSantis is not doing great in the polls. So Bill Mitchell as irrelevant as ever. But this Joey guy used to work for Bill Mitchell. And as far as I'm aware, used to work for Bill Mitchell in the Trump Tower, like in like the 2016 election. I don't exactly know. Like I guess Bill Mitchell had an office there for it's called Your Voice America, is like a radio show that I think is still on.
America. It's got a great theme.
Familiar with it?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I'm only like vaguely familiar with like Bill Mitchell and what he's like kind of done in the Trump era, which is, like I said, he's kind of just like a never Trump type figure. So I'm not really too familiar with his like previous work.
He was like a Rush Limbaugh type of AM radio type of like it was a specific vibe, and I think he still just does the AM radio trucker beat.
Yeah, so he's kind of like the Tea Party era radio
that's
type
right.
voice. Yeah, because that kind of guy was, I feel like, huge. I mean, before the Tea Party, but especially during that era.
Right.
So yeah, Joey got to start with Bill Mitchell and like his organization. And he kind of funny that Joey is Italian, and he heavily leaned into it apparently during his time there. Like I found a website talking about Joey's career, and it would talk about how he was like, Joey was big into diversity because of his background as an Italian person. So that was like no joke. That's what like he was touted about him, is his look into like diversity, being Italian. So these days, though, he's just kind of like a Twitter weirdo. I don't think he really does anything other than post on Twitter. As far as I'm aware, I couldn't really find anything. He just posts like, especially now that Twitter Blue is a thing and that you can do like 25,000 character tweets. He basically just writes blog posts with like the most insane shit. I'm going to read one of them. This one, I was reminded of this one because recently there was like an article that came out about how right-wingers can't really define woke, and if they can't define woke, they're not going to win the culture war. And Joey was one of the people that tried to define woke. There was like a day, maybe like 2 months ago, or maybe like back in June, where a bunch of right-wingers had their own definitions. They were like, oh, we're gonna define woke. We're finally gonna define this word that we've been using for like a year to attack like anything we don't like. And of course, everyone had a different definition. But I feel like Joey's was my favorite because I'm not even joking. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is super long. There's 2 parts to it. This was before the 25,000 character limit. So he hit 4,000 characters on this one. I'm going to read just a couple of lines here. So what woke means, part 1. Woke is Lizzo proclaiming she's the sexiest thing ever, when to all of us, she's just unhealthy, annoying, and gross. Woke is letting black shoplifters go free, but arresting the white clerk who calls the cops. Woke is teachers who honestly believe they have the right to transgender your children and talk to them about sex. Woke
Those
is
are fine, even if those things and whatever else this list contains are all woke. That isn't one thing at all. They're completely unrelated. Lizzo, and in fact, any private citizen is allowed to tell you that they're sexy. They like nobody. You don't take people to jail if they say they're sexy. So I don't know what in the world he could be talking about. And then to be like, woke is when your teachers trans your kids' genders, and woke is when Little Mermaid is black. It's like you have made it worse.
He has a different post talking about the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking.
I'm sure he does.
But so he's just one of these type of dudes. I think you get the point. I read like 3 different lines. It goes on like that forever, and he defines woke by including all of his like different culture war petty grievances.
Does he at any point, without having seen it, use the phrase "shoved down our throats"?
I'm sure he has, because he tweets. He doesn't tweet anything fun. He just tweets about culture war. Let me see. I'm gonna search "shoved." Okay, he didn't use it on this one, but I would bet good money he has in the past, and I'm almost certain of it. He is a very like Daily Wire like adjacent type of dude in terms of culture war. I think he's a Trump type of dude. But he really gives into like the Ron DeSantis type of worldview of the culture war, where you just have to be as deranged as possible, and apparently that's gonna like win people over. Which I don't really know if that's gonna be the lane long term, to be like the most deranged person talking about people's weights and calling that woke. I don't know. To me, that's just like fucking weird, and I feel like to the average person, that's pretty weird. So he's just one of these characters that he's the type of dude where you'll always see him making a post that has a show thread or show more, he's one of those weirdos.
Yeah. Real Checky vibes.
100% Checky vibes. And I feel like people, if you're not already familiar with this guy, if this guy doesn't ring a bell at all, you're definitely familiar with one of his types of posts he's made in the past. He is the dude that kind of went off on the tranny semen thing. Are you guys familiar with the tranny semen?
I was hoping we would get to the...
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You have to talk about the tranny semen. So
why use the slur but say semen? That's what I want to know.
What I want to know is why do my trans mutuals have their posts deboosted for saying tranny, but his posts using tranny appear on the timeline for people who don't even follow him? That's what I want to know. Why are blue checks allowed to say tranny but trans people aren't? I don't get that.
I get it. It's because Elon Musk does not like trans people.
Probably that, and honestly, probably having a blue check is probably a way to get around slurs.
Yeah.
It's the slurs pass.
Although the site has been working so poorly, you can totally threaten people now on Twitter, which is very cool. I've done it a few times. One of the
That's how you got away with it, because the site's broken, like the report system or something.
Yeah. So
I've noticed you've been going off, man.
Is the post telling to kill himself like a dozen times still up with like 100,000 fucking likes?
I'm pretty sure it's still
that person got suspended.
Oh,
that
okay.
person
did they?
suspended. So you can, if you directly threaten someone, you will get suspended still. But if you kind of like talk around it, because like your post, I think it was like Miles Ian Chung or something.
Ian Miles Chung, yeah.
And yeah, that's his name.
So
like, you threatened him, and that was very funny. But
yeah,
you kind of like walked around a direct threat, which is
I
think
thought
why
it was
you
an
were fine.
extremely direct threat, but I think
thought that was pretty direct. What was the tweet again?
I said I hope that Ian Miles Chong dies very violently, and I hope that I'm the one who gets to do it. And a bunch, like, it broke containment. It had like 10K likes, and I deleted it because at that point it's going to be seen by a lot of people that I can't really rely on to not report it. But the Elon one I didn't delete because that was a little. I said I want to beat the person who posted this with a weapon. I have a specific plan. But I guess if you say what the plan is, that's the problem. If you just say, I am not going to post about it, but I do have a specific plan to commit violence against this specific person, that's fine as long as you have a sentence in between who the person is and what the act is.
It gets around the alley. But I think Chudsly, you were referring to a post that just read Elon Musk kill yourself like 10 times, right?
Yeah, and tagged him.
It got like and it got like 200,000 likes. Imagine seeing a post on Twitter or anywhere that has like 250,000 people saying like, yeah, you know what? You should kill yourself.
It was trending.
Insane.
It was on trending. It's kill yourself. Elon was trending.
It's so crazy.
That's got to feel like a real L. How much money you spent on the website? Yeah.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
But so with this tranny semen thing.
Yes.
For people not familiar, I'm sure most people listening probably are, but so of course it's with the whole like Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light culture war nonsense, like that whole grift. He started at one point calling Bud Light, like the beer itself, tranny semen. So he whenever he refers to Bud Light, he calls it tranny semen. And I scrolled his all of his uses of tranny semen. He said that phrase in the last month and a half alone 43 times. Like
he's still going for it.
He's still trying to make it a thing. He's hashtagged it. He'll reply to people with it. That's like his favorite bit is to talk about tranny semen. And it's sadly for him, I don't think it's really catching on beyond his reach. But that's a bit.
Yeah, that
really
is a
loves.
Joey original, and he is really, really trying it. He said it about the Chick-fil-A sauce as well. Which, by the way, if you search this phrase on Twitter, you're going to get Joey Manariano tweets or however you say his name, and then also images of actual semen. From different kinds of accounts than the one that Joey has.
It's a crossover event. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I also did find a post in which oh my God, this is from Joey actually. Did you see this? The image where Joe Biden had marks on his face from sleeping with a CPAP machine?
Yes, where people thought he had like surgery or something.
Well, Joey has a different guess. Joey thinks it was a ball gag attached to the front of his face.
Oh, sure. That's very likely.
Jeez. Of course. So okay, but I don't have too much more on Joey because his main thing is just like making blog posts and his weird bits. But what is with these right wingers and like Tim Pool will do this a lot too, where he will just like talk sexually about his like political enemies in like really bizarre ways. Like that, like ball gag Biden. I'm assuming, is that like what he called him, ball gag Biden? If not,
that's
he should
good.
take that.
He fucking should have.
Yeah, he should have taken that.
Oh my God,
that's a free one for you.
The
Joey.
caption he said is, "What is going on at the White House? Did Michelle Obama pay a visit?"
What?
Because she gagged him because she's also a man. If you'll recall, she is also trans or whatever.
That's right. Of course, she's trans. I forgot. Of course, silly me. Of course, how could I forget that Michelle Obama is trans?
Well, so when you're talking about horny posts and Joey Marinara, you can only be talking about one post, to my mind, and it is the one where he speculated that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to start an OnlyFans because
was that him too?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's done like all of the fucking weirdest shit.
Yeah, I just found the post. She posted an image of herself in a sports bra and yoga pants with a shirt on over it. And she said, now off to yoga on her Instagram reels. And he said, at AOSC is now posting what many would call basic bitch selfies. Is this the precursor to OnlyFans or just a moment of leisure? He's leaving it open for the option that the congresswoman won't be doing pornography. He's not totally against. He doesn't think it's totally out of the question.
Yeah, he's keeping an open mind. See, I don't know. There's just something like there's a certain type of these weirdos that like I don't know. They will. What is it? People say like politics is sexual. What do they say? Politics is sexual pathology. Is that like the phrase that people say? Sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, that is what a lot of these guys are, and that's why I asked about the phrase "shoved down our throats," because it is always such phallic imagery that they use when they talk about like things they don't like. And yeah, that one is, they're like if I just searched the phrase "shoved down our throats" and people are all talking about Dylan Mulvaney. Like she's what, like she wasn't shoved down anybody's throats. Y'all found her. Y'all did this.
Yeah. It's like that image. One of my favorite images where it's that like SpongeBob like straight jacket. What's her name? Mrs. Puff in a straight jacket with
the trans flags.
The trans flags. Yeah, like this is a hell of your own making, dude. Like you're the ones posting about this.
Oh my God, he has a tweet.
That's Joey Manorino. Go on. What's the tweet?
He has a tweet from yesterday that he tweeted at Bud Light. Just bought a nice case of local breweries beer. like a filler text post. Because they don't shove agendas that I don't want down my throat. Want in my life down my throat.
Shoved. It's always down his throat. It's always down these people's
getting
throats.
Shoved down his throat. The Tiesler semen is getting shoved down his throat, and he can't take any more of it.
And the saddest part about all of this is they admit that they drank and liked Bud Light.
Yeah, like personally, so Bud Light's an okay beer. Like most light beer is like kind of piss tasting. So when people will be like, "Oh, it tastes like piss," it's like, well, yeah, that's like most light beer. At least in my experience, like it usually tastes like piss. I don't know what these people are wanting out of their light beer.
Yeah, we could speculate forever about why they got so angry at a single TikTok. But I want to defer. I want to defer to our TikTok expert here. What are the topics? What are the right wingers focused on as of late?
As of late,
Yeah.
Still Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
they can't get over Dylan Mulvaney. It's been like 2 months.
Oh yeah.
It's been so long. It's been such a long period of time.
It's been like more than 2 months at this point. I feel like anytime I see a new post about this, I'm like, oh, it's day 120 of talking about a trans woman they hate. I guess I don't know.
I mean, the trans woman being topless at the White House made a small blip, but then all of a sudden it went back to Dylan Mulvaney somehow.
They can't help themselves.
They just keep claiming, oh, they're killing Budweiser while drinking Modelo.
Owned by Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my the bar I work at sometimes we are actually not going to carry Bud Light anymore.
Really?
We are going to.
Is it because of the culture war?
It's because people aren't buying it, and I assume that's because of the culture war. And it is very funny because there are certain types of dudes when I'm like, we don't have a like Natty Light or whatever. So they're like, can you get a Natty? Can I get this? I'm like, we have Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light. That's what we got. And they're like, ugh, not Bud Light. It's like, I wasn't gonna call you gay, you know.
It really is like a sign of like masculinity for a certain type of conservative to like to virtue signal that you of course you don't drink Bud Light because that's the tranny semen.
Yeah,
you can't be drinking the tranny semen.
Yeah, the ongoing panic about, because it is also like it's so sad that there's like people are like definitely losing like relationships out of this shit, you know. They're definitely like hurting themselves and the people around them.
There's absolutely
Definitely.
no reason for people to get as obsessed with things as they do. You can see people just kind of becoming further deranged in the videos I watch sometimes. One of them specifically, Ryan Foley. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos. He's the guy.
Sounds familiar.
He's the guy who's a like street preacher and talks about how he used to have sex with trans women and be addicted to porn, and he's almost certainly still addicted to porn.
I was gonna say that's a big time Mitch Hedberg situation. I used to have sex with trans women. I still do, but I used to. Also.
I used to too. Yeah.
Like people have shared like screenshots of their OnlyFans of him contacting them back in like December, and he's been doing this since like mid last year. So it's almost certainly still going on. But like when I first found him, he was kind of normal. He, you know, had this like confessional. He's like, oh, you need to stop watching porn. Blah 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 blah. I don't want to get into it. But now he's just like getting kicked out of like Catholic churches, and he looks sweaty. And like it looks like he's going to become a mass shooter.
Oh God. Hopefully someone's keeping an eye on this dude. I mean, that's the thing, is like a lot of these people will just get more and more deranged and like desperate, and because I don't know, it's like that that attention that drives them. It's not like an ideology, it's just an ideology of attention, or I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's a really sort of grim situation. I think that since we're getting close to an hour, I think we should save Oli London for the paywall, if that's okay with you, Caleb.
Sure, no problem.
But I do want to talk.
I cannot wait to talk about Oli London.
I do want to talk about, because we have neglected for the past few weeks how bad Twitter is right now. It's quite not good, and how dire the situation is over at there. Chuds, what have you noticed? What have you been feeling about Twitter? I don't know if you've like stepped away, because I know you're on Blue Sky now as well.
Yeah, I've started posting a lot less, or started chatting it a lot less since the rate limits. Even though I think after the first day, no one's really hitting them. They might have fixed whatever the fuck it is, but it still lost them their fan base.
Yeah, I've definitely been on there less lately. because of the rate limits. I've only hit rate limits twice, which was like 2 days ago. But
I do know a lot of people are leaving. You can see it in your numbers and your analytics. I've hit my current like 108,000 followers maybe like 5 times now, because just that many people are quitting. It's weird. And then every once in a while you'll find someone who doesn't believe that newts exist.
Yeah. And yeah, those type of people are becoming more and more common, which I don't know, for me, it's kind of funny. It doesn't, I don't know. At the same time, it's like, oh, there's like a really certain type of stupid person. Because I don't know if you guys saw this thread either recently, but there was a whole post about like evolution. Did you guys see that post about evolution, and how in the comments talking about the evolution of whales, there's just like a shit ton of blue checks being like, oh yeah, we're creationists. And it's like, we are just like going backwards. I don't know. There's the whole blue check situation is just so dire. we're going back to like culture war issues that were maybe not settled, but mostly not talked about online.
No,
for like a decade.
We said it. It's been said. This is the era of having the same brain as a 1300s peasant. Of just being like, it's God who sent me a message that told me to shoot up the Bud Light facility, and then everybody's like, "Damn, I can't believe God told that guy to do that," instead of dismissing it out of hand. Yeah, the internet has really warped some people into thinking some real silly billy kinds of things. And it's funny because Owen Benjamin believes in evolution. I heard him talk about evolution.
Really? Okay.
But he doesn't believe in like gravity. So he is really all over the map.
He also believes that nuclear power works by just having hot rods, and it doesn't give off nuclear radiation at all. It just boils water, and that's how you get energy.
That is what he claims. Yes.
Yes. It got really weird there.
Yeah. He said that Fallout does not exist, and somebody was like, "Well, why don't you go to Hiroshima?" And he's like, "Don't you see how you proved my point? Because if I could go to Hiroshima, that means that it's safe. So Fallout doesn't exist. So don't know what you guys are talking about." It's like, yeah. He read like the Wikipedia page on something I saw of the of like the bomb at Hiroshima, and he's like, "See, it says it detonated 600 meters before it hit the ground. So how are we supposed to, like, the mushroom cloud came up from the ground, right?" And it's like, bro, just say you don't fucking know anything. Don't try to like intuit nuclear physics on the fly while reading Wikipedia. Like, but his whole worldview is that they are trying to control us with fear. And that's how he knows he's the most mentally sane person in the world.
Okay, so that's the angle. I was trying to figure out the whole angle of his saying, like, ideology.
Boomers are too afraid of the bomb and bullshit like that.
Yeah, so he's like, for boomers, it was the bomb. For Gen X, it was AIDS. For millennials, it was 9/11 and terrorists. And for Zoomers now, it's COVID. And we just need to really let go of these things that they're trying to control us by fearing, like radiation poisoning and anything that isn't the Jews and the blacks conspiring to rape our kids.
Oh God. We live in a golden era of thoughts and minds.
That's it. It's really something. It's really something. And I did also want to just mention the not to talk about super depressing stuff or whatever, but the shooting that happened in Philly over the weekend. I wasn't in the city, so I was okay. It was also quite far away from my house. But the thing I wanted to point out is that the dude used a police scanner to be able to tell where the cops were going. So they were relying on like dispatches without relying on radio communication between each other. And I have already started seeing people who are like, why do we even allow people to have police scanners? And it's like, nah, dog. No. You don't want to do that. You do not want to outlaw police scanners. Because what dispatchers say to cops is extremely important to be public. So I did just want to give a little PSA about that, because I am a little concerned that some misguided people will try to get around banning the guns by doing other things. And just wanted to shout that out real quick. Don't want to.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up that the dude used the police scanners, but like, I don't know. I appreciate that that's like something we can use and like listen to.
Yeah,
I don't often listen to police scanners, but
no,
I don't know,
it's just
seems
about
bad to.
Yeah, it's that the information that the police have should be information that we have, unless it is about an ongoing investigation. And if it is not, we should be allowed to know it. And that is not a great precedent to set, is to be like, well, certain times the cops can keep secrets from us for no reason. That's not a good precedent to set. I also wanted to ask you, June, when are you scheduled to go on TYT?
I think never. I think it was. I think it was in the cards maybe at one point, possibly, but at this point, Anna hates me. Anna fucking hates me, dude.
Well,
it's because you're trans. It's
you're a
'cause you're
gender
trans.
activist now.
Yeah, isn't that funny how trans people aren't just trans people, but they're always to people who have a problem with a trans person, we're always just transgender activists. I think that's kind of interesting. But no, so I think it's kind of funny. She probably was kind of aware who I was. So like a couple of months ago now, when she first started like delving into this like whole transphobia arc that she's been going down, this whole like I don't know, this, I'm just gonna call it her transphobia arc, because that's basically what this is. I was invited on this program called The Leftist Mafia, that's run by the Surfs TV and Oleyama, and a few other people like David Dole. And we talked about that whole situation when she kind of first started delving into this. And I know for a fact she watched that video because she addressed it. I don't know if do you guys know who Benny is? She is a trans woman who used to work at TYT. She quit yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that tweet. I didn't know her before that though.
Yeah,
and for those and for the extremely normal people, that is TYT is the Young Turks. It's a leftist media organization that has recently become very comfortable with transphobia. And Anna is Anna Kasparian, who is one of their lead anchors there, who also happens to be not acting in such good faith, and also got into some disagreements recently with our very own Juniper.
Yeah, we fought a little bit on Twitter. I guess not everyone has probably seen that, but people have definitely seen the tweets where she was basically saying that she was replying to me when she was like, the black people in the civil rights era, they were just like really nice and calm, and people saw the humanity in them, and it's like, oh, so your understanding of like the civil rights era and like what people did as activism at the time is like a fourth grade level, basically. But basically we got into a fight, and she addressed the video, the Leftist Mafia video. Like, I guess it's like a podcast that I was on. So she was like probably aware of me. And when I replied to her, she replied back to me, and she was like really mad. She called me like insane and genuinely stupid, and like I was like pretty nice. I thought I was pretty nice when I first started responding to her, but it escalated to a point where she started calling me insane. She just said all these things about me, and she eventually deleted her quote tweet of me and a couple of replies to me, one of them being that like whitewashing of the civil rights era and how black people were treated. And she ended up blocking me. Yeah,
and saying that black people didn't need to resort to tactics or whatever, or however she put it. But it's like, that not only is a like, we cannot possibly assume that is accidental ignorance at that point. She is a media figure on the left, and has been for the past like 20 years. Like, that is very, very much, you know, that's not true. You know what you're doing at this point. And this is the thing that, like, not just us, everybody keeps fucking saying is transphobia is like its own mental illness. It is like ruining people's brains. They lose their families and shit. And it would be sad if they weren't also wealthy and shitty about it.
Yeah, and that's something I think I mentioned in that leftist mafia video. And I mean, I feel like I'm not the only one that said this, where like once that like transphobia gets rooted in your brain, it just doesn't leave. There's something like people can, I'm not saying that people can't like reform and become become normal about trans people, because I've gotten so many DMs from people like, oh, I've seen your posts and like you made me realize trans people are like actually very normal. Like I'm not saying that people can't reform, but there's something about like someone who was like generally okay with trans people getting concerned about being called something like a birthing person. That's what kicked this all off for Anna Kasparian.
Oh my
she
God.
didn't like the phrase birthing person, which she claims she was never called. She just had a specific issue with that phrase.
Birthing person it's never going to catch on. It's never going to catch on.
Nobody's ever going to say it except for maybe like an HR person in a university or something. Like that's not a real thing that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I think the time when she started having those Twitter posts was around the time where like AOC said it in Congress. I think those timelines are pretty similar.
I think so. I think it was. And it's like, I don't know. It's like a very activist. Of course, it's a very activist type of phrase, but it's also more of like a medical phrase than something that normal people say.
Right.
Like a medical person includes trans men, or a birthing person includes trans men and cis women. Like it's I don't know. Like it's a pure, as far as I'm aware, it's a purely like medical classification.
Yeah,
it's
medical
not like
and
replacing
legislation.
It's
you need legislation to be very specific, or else certain people will not get the healthcare benefits that they need.
Right. It's like it's a very specific thing. It's not like being replaced. Like her concern is that it was like replacing the word woman. Like she was going to walk down the street and she would be like, oh, like someone would be like, oh, look at that birthing person, which never going to happen.
Of course not, because a lot of women can't or don't give birth. So why would anyone say that?
And that's why it's also, like we already pointed out, it's a very it's a specific medical term. It's not like I don't know, common linguistics. Yeah. I don't know. This whole thing is just very ridiculous. And it's really sad that someone that I grew up watching, I used, when I was like 15 or 16, I used to watch the Young Turks. They were like my first foray into like online leftism and like a sort of like anti-establishment type of line of thinking. So it's really sad for me. For I haven't watched them in a lot of years at this point, but at one point they were very important to me and my development as a leftist. So I don't know. This has just been a really weird thing for me to be blocked and be called insane by someone who I spent a couple of years watching. It's very strange.
Yeah. Okay. So we will continue this, and we will have Caleb shed some light on the deeply disturbed mind that is Oli North. Oli, not North. Shit. What's the name?
London. I also have I have a little peek into some drama and some insanity that's going on with the Gays Against Groomers group as well. Yeah.
Okay. This is definitely a clean, hella clean outro. Very clean outroing the show. In no way did Rock's computer crash. Chuds, we're gonna have you plug your stuff. Chuds, where can the good people find you?
I am still on Twitter at Chuds TikTok, all one word. I'm also over at Blue Sky. I technically have a YouTube if videos are a little too long for Twitter, and especially because there isn't video on Blue Sky right now. But that's pretty much it. Buy me a Ko-Fi.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Buy him a damned Ko-Fi. All right. Thank you so much. Hear the rest of our conversation on Patreon. Thank you. Goodbye.